Can you creatively and intuitively make clothing without a pattern? Well, you can. And that's what I want to share with you today. So welcome back to my channel. It's Sam, and thank you for my new subscribers. Very grateful to have you here. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe, give the thumbs up. You know the drill. And I do want to say, if anybody doesn't know me, I am Sam. I think I said that already. I am the full-time mom of 6. And I am a full-time creative, but I do my creative work when my kids are napping, when my husband takes over on the weekends, early mornings and night times. And I've done that for about 18 years. It's how I wrote a couple of novels, and it's how I weave. And so this is a little bit about me. So let me show you this beautiful piece. This is a commission. So I'll put it on. I'm actually not done with it. I was really hoping to be completely done with it before I made this video, but it's just taking me so much time because this week, let's see, we had birthday and the little girls, my little girls got sick, and then I came down with mastitis, really feeling sick with a blocked breast duct. So all of my work was really slowed down. So this is a commission to weave, and it's not done. It's going to have beautiful buttons up the front. But this is woven spontaneously and intuitively. I don't know if you can see the cool back there, on my Saori loom. You call this art weaving. It's Saori inspired. So there was no pattern. And eventually it's going to have buttons. I like to do buttons with my weaving with a yarn loop. I don't like to make a buttonhole because I really don't like to cut into the weaving. And so the commission here was to make it out of what I used was Shetland wool. And it is really, I don't know how to express to you how surprisingly soft it is, because of course I also think of wool as sometimes very itchy, but this is beautiful and warm. And so I need to do a little finishing work on my sides and then add the buttons. And other than that, the piece is done. So let's chat a little bit about using creativity and intuition to make clothing. This is something I am not an expert on by any stretch of the imagination, but I'll start with a story, which is to say that when I was much, much younger, a teenager, I really wanted a sewing machine, I think for my birthday or Christmas. And I wanted to be able to make my own clothing. And I did get one, and I did start making my own clothing, and I made lots of my own clothing all throughout high school, and I would go and get patterns and do it the traditional way. I want you to know that I was not very good at it, even though I had, like, my mother's friend would help me and give me instruction. I just wasn't great at a lot of the details around sewing. But I had it in me, and I always loved fabric and textiles and would use them in different kinds of things and ways. But the beauty of art weaving, this Saori inspired weaving, is that when you sit at your loom, you are engaging in really deep, intuitive work. You don't have a pattern, like I said, so there was no pattern to the warp. I just knew from a collector who commissioned it that he likes a bit of plaid, and he liked the colors. But other than that, all of this was, as the shuttle goes through, done by that practice of depth intuition. So spontaneously and creatively. This is a big thing to overcome, because honestly, we aren't instructed in our culture on how to use our intuition and how to be naturally, spontaneously creative. Let me tell you another little story about that. An incredible artist friend came to visit us for one of the birthday parties we had recently. This is an amazing painter. I have some of her paintings up in my house. And she watched my 4-year-old paint, and then she wrote to me after and she said, I was so inspired by how your 4-year-old painted that I went home and tried to do it myself. I tried just to paint self-consciously with joy. So we don't really know how to do those things. And we certainly do not know how to make clothing in that way. And honestly, I have no idea either. But I am very inspired by the Saori method of making clothing, where you follow a loose pattern written in a book. So you're not cutting out the patterns. Now in this case, I decided not to follow the pattern that's in the book I have and just go my own way, because I liked the way the fabric was laying. But what's interesting to me, really potent and powerful to me, is that there's a practice here of listening to the fabric. So I talk on my channel a lot about like listening to that divine voice, or that inner guidance. There are lots of words you could use to describe that process. But once the fabric is created and you've woven it, you can put it out somewhere and just see if it doesn't talk to you and tell you what it wants to be. In this case, I had a request, a commission, so I knew that I was going to make a vest. But I really attempted to listen to how the fabric wanted to lie, what it wanted to look like, what the front would be like. And I did show you, but I'll show you again, and what the back would look like. The thing to get over, I feel like, in terms of using your creativity to do slow fashion and to do it creatively and uniquely, is that we have to get over all the inner voices of self-consciousness. Like my friend who's the painter was talking about. There's a lot of self-consciousness when we're talking about clothes, because we feel like clothes have to look a certain way and we have to look a certain way in them. And there's not a lot of room in our culture for variation. Like, people really just dress in a very similar way, and clothes have a similar frame and shape and size and a way that they hang. Not true in sari clothing creation, not true in art weaving when you're creating things. We're not trying to meet a standard that's homogeneous, is that the right word? Monochromatic, the same thing that's held outside. We're actually working to have a unique experience, a unique expression of cloth and fabric that also becomes a unique expression of ourselves. And that's not easy. So the little girl who wanted a sewing machine has really found in this form of creating a powerful affirmation. It's just the best way for me, so much better than my other ways of making clothing. It's a real delight. It's a real playfulness. I make 1,000 mistakes. And like I said, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm deep in the practice of creativity, playfulness, and chucking that self-consciousness out the door. So has anybody else tried to work with creative slow fashion? Tell me. This has been very slow. And I will hopefully share the finished vest with you next time I make a video. Don't forget to subscribe. If you enjoyed this video, it makes me so happy to get a thumbs up. Even happier probably if you came over to my website, thesamanthawild.com, checked out my weaving shop, wrote me an email, read some stuff over there. Okay, thumbs up, and have a lovely day.